All right, Isaac Harris, thanks for making Locked On Mavs your first listen today. Go check out the Locked On NBA channel on YouTube for the best trade deadline show that will be coming out with your boy John Corrales and Josh Lloyd, the GOAT of fantasy basketball. They will have an incredible show that I will be helping produce over there, so go subscribe to that channel. All right. A trade happens. Oh, I guess we can't use this button. Can we use the rumor has it button for a trade that actually went down? Caris Levert changes locker rooms on Sunday. The Pacers were playing the Cavs, and Caris Levert goes over pregame after the trade had gone down, goes over to the other locker room, and so now we have a trade. So Caris Levert heads to the Cleveland Cavaliers from the Indiana Pacers in exchange for a lottery-protected first-round pick from the Cavs in 2022, so this upcoming draft, as well as the Rockets' second-round pick, which is essentially a first-round pick. That is going to be really, really close to being a first-round pick. And then they said Ricky Rubio's contract as well. Rubio's out for the year, so that doesn't really matter to them. But Rubio's an unrestricted free agent, Isaac. And so this matters to the Mavs a little bit.
It does. And, you know, when I first saw the layout of this trade, my mind went to one place. And I said, we have a new Jalen Brunson suitor.
Yeah.
It's the Indiana Pacers. It's Rick Carlisle. I mean, they make this, they make this move, swapping out Levert's money with Rubio's expiring. And now they're freeing up around 20 something million. We had to check with Tony East, a host of our Locked On Pacers host, of get all the details on that and, financial part of that. But, they're going to have even Woj, I think Woj went on SportsCenter after I've seen a few tweets. We were already at the arena of saying that, hey, Indiana's looking to clear the deck. Now they're entering that group of teams now, that small group of teams that's going to have the cap space. And this is something we've been saying over the past week. It's like, all right, well, how many teams actually have cap space? Well, let's see what happens before the trade deadline, because there's going to be another team or two that's going to clear up space. And here's our first candidate, somebody who has connections to Jalen Brunson and Rick Carlisle. And it's a team that they're not going to be good for a while. So it's like, if there's a team that's going to overspend for a good young player, it's probably going to be a team that's maybe not going to be good for a little while. And it just would not shock me one bit. I get they have Brogdon, I get they have McConnell, but it wouldn't shock me one bit if they look to trade off, Brogdon sometime over the offseason. It just wouldn't shock me at all if Rick Carlisle said, hey, we have cap space. I want to go after Jalen Brunson, make him our starting point guard. And let's start, let's keep on building this thing.
Or just play both those guys. How many times did we see Rick go dual point guards in the NBA, or just dual multiple guards?
Rick's like Brunson, McConnell, can I do this?
Brunson, McConnell, Brogdon is probably going to be their starting three.
This will be Devin Harris, JJ Barea,
and Yogi all over again. But yeah, I mean, they have now Ricky Rubio's expiring, TJ Warren's expiring, Jeremy Lamb's expiring. Miles Turner only has one more year after this, and they're trying to move him. They're trying to move on from him as well. Maybe they get expiring back from him for him. Minus Sabonis, maybe they move on, but Sabonis doesn't even make that much. So yeah, this team all of a sudden cleared up some space, and they should be watched closely for a potential Jalen Brunson team. Yeah. Jalen Brunson playing really, really well. They also, I think, take a player in the trade deadline off the board with the Cavs. The Cavs were a potential player that was really connected to Eric Gordon and like loosely connected to CJ McCollum, who the Mavs have apparently made calls on and talked to the Blazers about. But this takes them off the board. There was a rumor. Here, I got to keep hitting the button. There's a rumor that the Rockets they were absolutely sure they were going to get a first-round pick for Eric Gordon. So they were telling everybody, if you're going to come here with an offer, we're getting a first-round pick from somebody. Okay, what if that first-round pick was from the Cavs? Now they don't have that pick to trade. They don't have that pick to send out anymore. Maybe they could send a future one out instead of the one they have now, but that maybe takes the Cavs off the board, and maybe takes that possibility off the board. Eric Gordon's price goes down possibly. And they're just not there for them to make a deal for McCollum or Gordon.
Well, Rubio was the big piece to that. I mean, when you have a big expiring contract like that you can, look at a team like Houston, you can look at the Pacers and say, all right, you got a 2-guard that, makes money past this year. Let's, swap these things out. I think, Utah with Joe Ingles right now, they're probably looking at the same thing and saying, all right, this is our Ricky Rubio deal. Who can we go out and get? Whether it's a Harrison Barnes or whoever, using that expiring of Ingles, with them obviously being out for the year. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it takes, if if you're a Mavs fan, listen to this and you're really wanting Eric Gordon and you're like, Eric Gordon's the next piece for us, then you're a little bit happier after this trade because it looks like Eric Gordon won't be heading to Cleveland, but there's a lot of people out there that would love Gordon on their team.
It's just hard to find somebody with the right contract to trade back for him because he's making so much money. He's making, $20-something million, and that is hard to trade for randomly in the middle of the season. But the Mavericks do have some salaries they could send back. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. I still am on the get CJ McCollum and Miles Turner and call it a day. Call it a trade deadline.
Well, I think this does, with this Pacers move happening when it did, they're obviously happy with the deal because they didn't wait for the deadline to just say, all right, let's just see what we could get for Levert at the very last moment. What this tells me is, okay, they're going to wait to the deadline for the other guys, whether Sabonis, Turner. I mean, it feels like Turner's going to be gone for sure, but now it's like, do they just go all in and rebuild? And now they're going to take Sabonis to the deadline and see what they can get for him right up to the last moment. So it's going to get, I think it could be a little bit more active than what people are making it seem to be. That could be boring. It could be, and I don't know. It feels like there's always one or two people that comes out of nowhere and we're like, whoa, didn't expect that to happen. And let's see if CJ McCollum goes anywhere.